Welcome to the Black and Green podcast. It's your go-to place to find the latest high-quality, all-natural products created by Black artisans. Hosted by yours truly, Dr. Kristen H., the founder of Black and Green. We'll discuss all things health, wellness, self-care, and of course, self-love. This podcast features a refreshing lineup of guests, from entrepreneurs and artisans to holistic lifestylists and clean beauty experts, and a plethora of other innovators within the wellness industry. Join me as we learn from the best of the best.
Hi guys, welcome to the Black and Green podcast. We're going to be talking with Shani today from Loveleaf. I'm so excited to have her here. Can you please introduce yourself and introduce your brand?
Okay, well, my name is Shani Lincoln, and I'm the owner of Loveleaf. And Loveleaf is a skin and hair line that is both plant-based and homemade.
Oh, I love that. Tell me the story behind your name, Loveleaf.
Wow, okay. Well, I think it really represents who I am. And it took me a while to get there. You know, I actually have a product called Sweet Leaf, and I started with that before I came up with the brand name Loveleaf. But Loveleaf, so Leaf really spoke to my love of nature and plants and the fact that all my ingredients are natural plant-based materials. And the love is just me doing this out of love and caring being a center part of why I decided to make this into a business.
Yeah. And why did you decide to make it into a business? What drove you to make that choice?
What drove me is the response I was getting from my loved ones and social circles about the products that, I was just making for gifts for them. And, I spent many years doing that. And the products just got better and better over time because I was investing in herbal medicine and getting education in that and educating myself in making skin products. And so I got to a point where I built up the confidence to say, wow, there's value in this and people enjoy it. And maybe I can go ahead and share this beyond my social circle and make this into a real business.
And was it like a side hustle thing? Was it something you were doing on the side of another job? Kind of where did it fall into your life of you trying to build a brand?
Right. It's definitely a side hustle at this point. I spent my whole career in real estate development, but this is, my passion, and it's a growing business. I'm in the early stages of developing my business still, I believe. But I spend a lot of time, working on my formulations before I started the business. So, I'm very hopeful that it will branch into something beautiful over time.
Yes. And what does that process look like? What does working on your formulations mean? Where are you getting your raw ingredients? What are the things that you're paying attention to? What means a lot to you as you're working on your brand?
Wow. So I think the most important thing for me is to make sure that I'm not using any synthetic man-made materials in my products.
Yes.
That's something that, and particularly with fragrances and preservatives, I go the extra mile to make sure that those are natural and not, extracted with chemicals and so on. And so that's the key to what's important to me with my formulations. And the other thing that is very important to me is using healing herbs in my products. So I want everyone to be moisturized all day with my skin and hair products, of course. But I also want to address skin concerns and, use herbs that really support healthy hair and healthy skin.
Tell me about some of the herbs that you use that you find are really valuable that you think more people should know about.
Oh, one of my favorite subjects.
Perfect.
Okay, so in particular, I will talk about my calming butter. So one of the key ingredients in my calming butter is eucalyptus. I personally love eucalyptus because it's so relaxing It's very relaxing, and it's decongestant. And, because I use this so much in my personal life, I decided to make a product for everyone else. And so what I'm addressing with that eucalyptus is making sure folks have an opportunity to address their aches and pains and not just moisturize their skin, right? So eucalyptus helps with that. And it also helps to work with any congestion that you may have. I'm someone who's an allergy sufferer. So that's important for me.
Yeah, so it became a important part of your brand because you knew it was something that was resonating with you.
That's right. And so that's going back to why I use herbs, because the herbs that are in that calming butter are traditionally used to help with aches and pains and just relaxing the body. And so, I of course use other ingredients like rosemary and calendula and arnica together in that product because they all support each other in, again, relaxing your muscles, your achy feet at night, just calming you down and making sure you get a restful sleep.
Yes, a restful sleep. I think that's important to think about. We often just think that all sleep is created equally, and that's not the way it works.
Right.
You need a restful sleep. So tell me about your self-care routine. How do you take care of yourself to make sure you're always showing up as your best self each and every day?
Let's see. I would say I start off the morning with, when I wake up in the morning, thinking about a few things that I'm grateful for. That really sets a good tone and really helps my mood throughout the day.
Yes.
And I like to take a few deep breaths from the diaphragm. I found that really helps me. And let's see, one of my favorite things to do is to meditate.
Yes.
I when I make my morning coffee, I like to take 5 to 10 minutes and meditate. That's very helpful. And I would say the care that I give myself, because like I said, I'm an allergy sufferer. So this is that time of year for me. So I consider that self-care as well. I use my neti pot. I use my essential oils for breathing well. Those are things that I do every day to help support that. And lastly, I would say that I love a good tea, a good turmeric ginger tea in the evening.
That's awesome. It's so important to have like a strong foundation for how you maintain everything you're doing, especially starting a brand, because like you are the foundation. You have to have a very strong foundation. I know something for me that I do is I always do a gratitude moment. Whenever I'm feeling frustrated or sad or bothered, I say, okay, what is something I can be grateful for? That in that moment, I ask myself, what is something to be grateful for? You can go down the path of being frustrated about this thing or focus on the thing that you can be grateful for. And it's amazing the power of gratitude.
Isn't it? Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, I came across a gratitude practice through friends who were had a group where we could support each other every day by sharing some things that we're grateful for every day. And that's what got me started with it. And I couldn't believe the effects of it. Because sometimes it's a challenge. It's a challenge to think of what am I grateful for? I can't think of anything right now. I'm going to say something silly, But when you do that and every day, I swear a week goes by and you're like, why am I so joyful for no reason? Why am I so happy just to be?
Because you understand that you have so much power over your brain. And so that if you choose joy, if you choose gratitude, if you choose to sit in that moment, you will feel those ways. If you always focus on the things that are negative, everyone has negative things, but you decide what you focus on. Do you focus on the negative or you focus on the positive?
That is so true. It's so true.
It's a way that it all works out. And I always think it's important because creating a brand, creating a product is pulling on you in a different type of way to now share a gift of yours with the world. And so this tells us more about what makes your gift so special, what makes your product unique, what makes it stand out.
Well, I think what makes it stand out is that I worked really hard on the texture of my product as well. That's one of the other than the smell, the other thing that I get compliments on is the texture, and being consistent with that. And, like some examples would be that it feels very, comforting on the skin, indulgent, without leaving a greasiness, and the texture is consistent throughout the jar. And so, I think it's just as important to work on texture as whatever scents and healing products that you're trying to incorporate into your product.
And tell me about the product you have on Black and Green.
Okay, well, I do have the calming butter that we discussed on Black and Green.
Yes.
And yes, and that's the one where I was explaining that that's really focused on not just moisturizing, but aches and pains and relaxation, circulation, all those good things. And I also have a hair butter, and that is our unscented hair butter. And that's really geared towards moisturizing the skin. It acts as a salve to the scalp as well. It helps with you might have some dandruff or so on with your scalp, but it also locks in that moisture all day in your hair. So, and for me specifically, it also helps me style my hair because there's a little hold to it.
It's amazing how products also often come from you trying to solve your own problem.
That's right.
So I created this so I can do this thing with it. And then the key is trying to explain to the people the thing that you do with it so they can learn to do the same thing.
That's so true. But then your customers surprise you because they tell you what other purposes it has.
Exactly. They use it in a way you never thought. Like, oh, you use it like that? Wow, that sounds cool.
Exactly. Like, oh, great. I didn't even know it had that power. Thank you.
What has been the thing that surprised you the most?
Wow, that's a good question. I think how versatile. I mean, if we're just talking about the hair butter now, I'm thinking of how versatile it can be. It's a simple ingredients, but it seems to be multi-purpose because I get folks with all different hair textures who like it and use it. And and they're using it differently than me because we all have different hair, right? So some folks are using it to twist their locks, and some folks are using it as like a base moisturizer before they put a styling product over it. And they say it makes their styling product last all day. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's really good to know. And I mean, I've had customers say it's helping with, thinning hair or a dandruff condition. And I know because I have a local hair salon that uses the hair butter, I get feedback from her customers as well, and she's using it on folks with color. They said it really helps to keep that moisture locked in when folks are lightening their hair. So that's the kind of feedback that surprises me because I'm using it as my only product now, and I never even thought about all the different ways it can assist different hair types.
Exactly, because you wouldn't know that because you have your hair type, so that's what you're using it with. But hearing other ways with different hair types, it's always surprising. Like, oh wow, it's great to know that it still meets your needs.
Exactly. It's very. I feel very grateful for that.
Yes.
My customers keep me really invigorated.
Yes. Talking about gratitude, we're going to take a moment for our meditation.
So wherever you are right now, just take a moment to be. Be in your awareness. Be in your truth. Be in your wholeness. Allow yourself to show up as light, dark, and every shade of gray in between. Feeling your presence, experiencing your truth, finding your breath, and instead of directing her, listen to her. Ask her where she wants to spend more time, and spend more time there. Ask her where she's stuck, and go into the experience of why. Be in this breath, be in this movement, and continue to cultivate this experience through the rest of your day. Honoring that your truth and whatever you show up as is always enough. You are perfection and excellence personified. Anything that tells you that you're anything else no longer serves you.
All right, now that we're back from meditation, the question I have is, what's next for your brand? What is your big dreams? What do you see coming down the pipeline?
Well, that's a great question too, because I'm working really hard right now in the marketing department and just trying to get, spread the word about Loveleaf. And so I'm working really hard right now to in social media platforms and, email, all the different platforms to really try to grow the business and get the word out. And ultimately, I really see Loveleaf being a product that's available in smaller boutiques, something around that nature. So that's my goal right now, is to make sure that it's more accessible.
Do you want to add extra more products? Do you kind of want to grow what SKUs you're offering? Do you have any ideas of new SKUs? Or are you thinking, I'm making these couple SKUs good and these couple of products good, I want to stick with these and watch them grow?
Yeah, I do. And I recently, I'm in the middle of launching a new product for hair to complement the hair butter. And so I would like to grow the haircare line. And I do see myself eventually venturing into products for the face as well as the body. But overall, I want to make sure, no matter what the product is that, self-care is the key message behind them.
Yes. And how do you see this fitting in to you having a day job? Do you kind of have this vision that it will continue to grow and it will continue to balance the day job and Loveleaf that you're creating? Or do you imagine a world where you can put all your attention on Loveleaf?
I do imagine a world where Loveleaf is my job. You have to dream big.
Yes.
And so I do see that in my future. And right now, it's balancing pretty well. You have your good days and your bad days. You have your challenges with trying to balance these things. But I am hoping that, as I grow, that my capacity will grow along with it.
Yes. And your desire. I think things walk down the lines of your desire because you make the choices that are consistent with what you really want.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be very intentional with what is specific to your needs.
Yes.
And make that choice every day.
What's the support you need? What is the best way for other people to help you on your journey?
I think referring the product to your friends and family is a huge help. Having that customer testimony is a great help. I think that's the key to growing a business, a small business.
Yes. And I don't think people understand the value of testimonials and the value of feedback. I know I try to intentionally give feedback as much as I can because I know how much it matters to small businesses.
Oh, yeah, it's vital because there's so many products out there and people are inundated with them.
Yep.
So it's really helpful when someone you trust is telling you, like, look, this is the real deal. This works. It really kind of helps to cancel out all the white noise out there, right, in the beauty industry.
Yes, it does. Tell me about the impact you want to have on the world. What's the thing that I want to leave the world in a better place by doing this thing?
So my key message is I want folks to understand that they are a priority in their own lives.
Mm.
I want them to, and this is a challenge in my own life and many of us, making time for ourselves, right? So because that's something that's a challenge to me, I really want to help other people see the value in making time. And that means really just thinking of how can I treat myself like I'm a priority. Because, an action, it has to be an action, right? Because that is really giving yourself or reminding yourself that you're worthy.
Yes.
You're worthy in your own life. And I think that's the key to making all of this work. Everyone talks about, well-being and self-care and being happy, but it's really about developing those habits and that are constantly supporting yourself, right?
Yes.
So, that's part of the whole reason I'm even doing this is because, I realize how valuable that is in my own life. And I think it's important in any way I can is to say, hey, you can use personal care to approach that issue, right? Whether you're flossing your teeth or, washing your hair or rubbing a body scrub on you, it's like being intentional with that and honoring that time that you have for yourself.
Yes. Some of the actions that you have embodied, that you've adopted to invest in yourself.
Some of the actions, well, I think that kind of goes back to some of the things I described as far as my daily routine. And I'm also a big fan of affirmations. So when I feel myself getting a little down or feeling overwhelmed, I will write out affirmations for myself and repeat them to myself every day. And it really helps to lift the clouds. Right. So, I'm using as many tools as I can think to use.
Exactly.
And we all have our good days and bad days, as far as paying attention to ourselves and doing the work, right?
Yes.
But it's okay as long as you remember to go back to it,
Exactly.
You can forget it, but part of the work is remembering.
Yes. It's remembering what helps you feel grounded. And remembering what helps you bring you back so you can pull yourself out when you have those bad days. Those bad days are coming. There's no way to escape them. Those bad days are coming. It's so you have to figure out what is my strategy that when those bad days happen, what are the things I do to invest in myself to get my mood to be lifted a little bit higher?
Absolutely. I had a wise person in my life tell me to write out the things that make you feel joyful. And do at least 2 or 3 of those things every day. And I'm like, wow, she's right. That it's that's important.
Wow, that's crazy. I know at one point I made a joy jar. So I wrote down all the things that make me happy. I put them in a jar. And so whenever I was feeling down, I would go take up my jar and pull something out of it.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, just to force me, do something for yourself that you like. So for better or worse, I love chocolate chip cookies. I shouldn't love them because my waistline doesn't love them, but I love chocolate chip cookies. And so sometimes when I'm feeling down, I will go make myself a chocolate chip cookie. Just know that will bring a smile to my face. But it can also bring me sad. Like, girl, you're not eating cookies.
But you know what? It makes a difference when you know that you're treating yourself, right? And you deserve to treat yourself sometimes to a chocolate chip cookie.
Exactly. I say, okay, just don't eat them every day, but you can have them occasionally.
Right. That's part of it being joyful to me, is that it's not every day,
Exactly. It would mean less if I had a cookie every day. A cookie wouldn't bring joy to me the way it does now. The cookies bring joy to me now because I know they're few and far in between. So that way, when I have one, I really, really appreciate it because I know I'm not going to get one tomorrow.
Yes, I agree. And I've used cleanses that way.
Yes.
Body detox cleanses and so on. So, you say, okay, you can only have coffee once a week or something like that. Oh, I make the best out of that moment when I could have my coffee.
I enjoy this so much.
I really appreciate this coffee right now,
But what's interesting is when you don't do that, you probably don't appreciate the coffee nearly as much. And the amount of joy it brings you after you restrain it is amplified if you just did it every day.
That's right, because you realize I actually don't need this every day to function.
Nope.
But this is a joyful experience for the reasons, right? Exactly. So it reminds you of that.
Exactly. Do you have any other thoughts you want to share with us before we wrap up?
Oh, I do have one thing that was on my mind when we were talking about how folks can support. I also, really appreciate Black and Green for their support, for your support. I do, because, I'm thinking about, all of us small businesses out here. It's really important to have organizations out there, companies that are in the business of supporting small businesses. And me as a Black woman, I feel very, supported, and I'm in a safe space to grow and challenge myself.
Yes. Well, thank you. That means a lot because we all have our bad days. So something like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? And so it always feels good. I'm reminded why I'm doing this and trying to keep me on track with, well, what is my main goal? Kind of what's my center? So I can know when things are trying to pull me off there. People are always arguing with me, i.e. people, my accountant, it's all arguing me about how my books don't look so good. I was like, but I'm in it for a different reason than that. So that's why so I make decisions sometimes that aren't financial.
That's right. We do. We're working from the heart.
Exactly. So I'm so happy to have you a part of the Black and Green family. I can't wait to see your products grow and grow on the Black and Green platform and beyond. We want to start with Black and Green, but we want to see you grow and reach all your dreams.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for tuning into the Black and Green podcast. Did you have more questions for our special guest? Please leave your questions in the comment section. Also, check us out at blkgrn.com. Please subscribe and comment. We love hearing from you. Until next time, buy Black and live green.